Windy City Wonders. Dan and Mary's Chicago Adventure. Dan is 25 years old, with short, neatly trimmed brown hair, warm brown eyes, and fair skin with a light southwestern tan. He's tall, athletic, and has a calm but confident presence. Dan wears light blue jeans, a clean white crewneck t-shirt, gray sneakers, and a dark blue baseball cup. He often carries a black canvas backpack with a city map sticking out of the side pocket. His friendly smile and relaxed posture make him immediately approachable and likable. Mary is 22 years old, with shoulder-length wavy brown hair, sparkling brown eyes, and fair skin with a light natural glow. She wears dark blue skinny jeans, a soft red fitted t-shirt, and white low-top sneakers. She carries a small yellow crossbody bag and a silver charm bracelet on her right wrist. Mary's vibrant energy, expressive gestures, and bright laughter give her a magnetic personality. She is curious, observant, and playful. Day 1. First taste of the Windy City. Millennium Park, Riverwalk. Dan and Mary landed in Chicago on a warm July morning, the sun glinting off the skyline as their shuttle drove through the city. Their hotel near Michigan Avenue offered a perfect starting point for exploration. With a skip in their step, the couple boarded the hop-on hop-off double-decker bus, their day passes in hand. Dan pointed up as they passed by towering skyscrapers, while Mary leaned over the railing, soaking in the energy their first stop, Millennium Park.
"I can't believe we're seeing the bean in person," Mary said, rushing toward Cloud Gate, its reflective surface curving like liquid chrome.
They took playful selfies, Dan making goofy faces while Mary tried to balance on one foot in the reflection.
Nearby, they strolled through the Crown Fountain, where kids splashed as giant LED faces spouted water. "If we weren't wearing jeans, I'd be in that pool," Dan joked.
Later, they wandered along the Chicago Riverwalk, watching kayaks glide by. Street musicians play jazz, and cafe tables fill with laughter. They sipped iced lattes, watching the golden sunset bounce off glass buildings. Day 2. Museums, deep dish, and a funny mix-up.
Day 2 was all about culture and flavor. Their first stop was the Art Institute of Chicago. As they stepped through the massive bronze doors, Mary gasped, "It's beautiful!"
"Look at that Monet." They explored galleries filled with Impressionist art, ancient sculptures, and the famous American Gothic painting. Dan stood in front of it, mimicking the stern farmer, while Mary snapped a photo. A nearby visitor chuckled. "You nailed the look," he said.
They hopped back on the bus and cruised to the museum campus, where they admired Lake Michigan's shimmering waters before diving into the Field Museum. Mary was mesmerized by Sue the T-Rex, and Dan got lost in the ancient Egypt exhibit literally.
"Dan, you walked into the mummy room twice." Mary laughed as he reappeared from a hallway. "Hey, I was exploring. It's archaeology," he replied mock seriously.
Lunch meant one thing: Chicago deep dish pizza. At Giordano's, they ordered a classic cheese and sausage pie.
When it arrived, thick as a novel and bubbling with cheese, Dan stared. "We need a fork and nap."
Later that evening, they took a twilight boat ride on the Architecture River Tour, jaws dropping as guides shared the stories behind the Willis Tower, Marina City, and Tribune Tower. With twinkling lights above and cool breezes, it felt like magic. Day 3. Navy Pier, street performers, a sky-high view. Day 3 dawned bright and breezy. They rode the bus to Navy Pier, where children laughed, cotton candy spun in the air, and the century-old Ferris wheel rose into the sky.
"Let's ride it," Mary said, pulling Dan by the hand. As they rose over Lake Michigan, the city stretched beneath them, grand and glowing.
Dan squeezed Mary's hand, awed by the view. Back on the pier, they enjoyed street performers, a breakdancing crew, a magician pulling coins from behind ears, and a violinist playing Sweet Home Chicago. Mary clapped and tipped generously. They shared churros and lemonade while watching the boats sail by.
In the afternoon, they braved the sky deck at Willis Tower, stepping onto the famous glass ledge. "This is insane," Mary whispered, staring straight down 300 feet.
Dan took a picture with his arms out like he was flying. New Mexico has deserts. Chicago has this.
Day 4. Lincoln Park Zoo, Old Town, and a sweet goodbye. On their final day, they took the bus north to Lincoln Park, starting their morning at the Free Lincoln Park Zoo. They watched lions nap, monkeys swing, and penguins waddle. A mischievous goat tried to chew Dan's shirt, and Mary couldn't stop laughing.
Next, they explored the Lincoln Park Conservatory, a paradise of tropical plants and orchids. This feels like stepping into a jungle, Dan said, taking deep floral breaths.
They strolled down to Old Town, filled with cobblestone charm, where they had brunch at a rustic cafe and browsed bookstores and art shops. For their final evening, they returned to Michigan Avenue, watching the skyline glow as the city buzzed around them.
They found a rooftop restaurant where the city stretched beneath like a dream and toasted with sparkling cider. To Chicago, Dan said,
And to exploring everything together, Mary added.
A city that left a mark. Back in their hotel, bags packed and hearts full. Dan and Mary sat by the window looking out at the skyline.
This city has everything, Mary whispered. The people, the food, the buildings, even the mistakes were fun. Dan smiled. We'll be back. But next time, shorts for the fountain.
They left Chicago inspired not just by the city's architecture and culture, but by the joy of discovering it together.